France, Boeuf Bourguignon. This is a slow-cooked beef stew from the Burgundy region, where the local monks first started cultivating pinot noir grapes centuries ago. The dish uses tougher cuts of beef like chuck or brisket, which break down over hours of gentle simmering in red wine from the same area. Small pearl onions, mushrooms, and lardons of bacon add layers of savory depth. What makes it different from ordinary stew is the final step. The sauce gets strained and thickened so it becomes silky, almost velvety. Julia Child introduced this dish to American home cooks in the 1960s, and it has since become the benchmark for French country cooking. Italy, risotto alla Milanese. This creamy rice dish comes from Milan, where saffron gives it a distinctive golden yellow color. The rice variety is crucial. Arborio, Carnaroli, or Violone Nano have high starch content, which releases during stirring to create that signature creamy texture without using cream. According to local legend, a glassmaker's apprentice in the 16th century added saffron to rice at a wedding feast, and the color reminded everyone of stained glass. The dish is traditionally served as a primo, or first course, often alongside ossobuco. Unlike other rice dishes, risotto should be fluid on the plate, not stiff or dry. Japan, Okonomiyaki. Often called a savory pancake, this dish's name means, grilled as you like it, in Japanese. The base is a batter of flour, grated nagaimo yam, eggs, and shredded cabbage, cooked on a hot griddle. What makes it fascinating is the regional split. The Kansai style mixes all ingredients together before cooking, while Hiroshima style layers them with added noodles. You typically cook it yourself at the table on a built-in teppan grill, then top it with okonomiyaki sauce, Japanese mayonnaise, dried seaweed, and bonito flakes that move from the steam. It became popular after World War II when rice was scarce and flour was readily available. Mexico, mole poblano. This complex sauce from Puebla is often mistaken for chocolate gravy, but chocolate is just one of over 20 ingredients. The list includes different types of dried chilies, nuts, seeds, raisins, plantains, tortillas, and spices like cinnamon and cloves. The preparation can take 2 days because each ingredient is toasted, rehydrated, and ground separately before simmering together. Legend says nuns in the 17th century threw together whatever they had in the convent kitchen for a visiting archbishop. Mole poblano is traditionally served over turkey or chicken, and in Mexico, it remains the essential dish for weddings, birthdays, and quinceañeras. India, butter chicken. This creamy tomato-based curry was invented accidentally in the 1950s at a restaurant called Moti Mahal in Delhi. The owner had leftover tandoori chicken that had dried out, so he simmered it in a rich sauce made from tomatoes, butter, cream, and a specific spice blend called garam masala. The sauce gets its velvety texture from blending the tomatoes smooth and finishing with a pat of butter right before serving. What sets it apart from other Indian curries is the absence of coconut milk and the heavy reliance on dairy. Today, butter chicken is one of the most ordered dishes in Indian restaurants worldwide, though many versions cut corners by using canned tomato soup. Thailand, Yum Goong. This hot and sour soup is built around 4 essential flavors: lemongrass, lime juice, galangal, and fish sauce. The protein is almost always fresh river prawns, and the mushrooms are usually straw or oyster varieties. Unlike other Asian soups, tom yum is not simmered for hours. The broth comes together in under 10 minutes, which keeps the herbs bright and aromatic. A spoonful of roasted chili paste called nam prik pao adds a smoky depth and cloudiness to the broth. In Thailand, you'll find 2 main versions: the clear broth commonly eaten as a starter, and the creamy version with evaporated milk, which is actually a more recent adaptation from central Thailand. Greece, moussaka. Many people mistake this for a Greek lasagna, but the similarities are only surface level. The dish consists of layers of eggplant, potato, and spiced ground meat, usually lamb or beef, all topped with a thick béchamel sauce that bakes until golden. The key difference from similar Middle Eastern versions is the creamy topping, which contains cheese and sometimes egg yolks. Greeks adopted this dish from the Arabs during the Ottoman period, but the béchamel was a 20th century addition by chef Nicolaus Celementes, who wanted to give it a French touch. A proper moussaka rests for at least 20 minutes after baking, otherwise the layers slide apart on the plate. Morocco, tagine. This is both the name of the dish and the conical clay pot it cooks in. A traditional tagine combines meat like lamb or chicken with dried fruits, olives, preserved lemons, and a careful balance of spices such as cumin, ginger, and saffron. The pot's unique shape allows steam to rise, condense, and trickle back down, which means you need very little water for cooking. That slow, moist heat turns tough cuts of meat fork tender over the course of 2 hours. Berber tagines, the oldest version, use only meat and fat with no liquid at all. What makes Moroccan tagine distinct from other stews is the preserved lemon. It adds a salty, tangy brightness that no fresh lemon can replicate. Vietnam, pho. This noodle soup starts with bones, usually beef or chicken, that simmer for 6 to 10 hours with charred onion and ginger. The spices are equally important: star anise, cloves, cinnamon, cardamom, and coriander seeds wrapped in cheesecloth. The noodles are flat rice noodles called ban pho, and the broth must be crystal clear but deeply fragrant. Pho originated in northern Vietnam around the early 20th century, likely influenced by both French and Chinese cooking. The dish split into regional styles after the country divided in 1954. Northern pho uses wider noodles and more scallions, while southern pho adds bean sprouts, basil, and hoisin sauce at the table. You always eat it for breakfast in Vietnam, though the rest of the world treats it as lunch or dinner. Spain, tortilla española. This thick egg and potato omelette contains only 3 main ingredients: eggs, potatoes, and olive oil. Onions are a point of fierce debate. Some Spaniards insist they belong, others say absolutely not. The cooking method is unusual. You first confit the potatoes in a generous amount of oil over low heat until they're soft but not brown, then mix them with beaten eggs and cook the whole thing slowly in the same pan. The classic test of a good tortilla is the flip. You invert it onto a plate, slide it back in, and let the other side set. The center should remain slightly underdone, almost creamy. Legend says an unemployed cook in the 19th century invented it for a visiting general when she had no other food in the house.